So this recipe has been really highly requested by a lot of you since you saw it in my Meals of the Week video, and this is my chicken, bacon and leek pie. It's topped with a really creamy mash and it is just the perfect comfort dish. So this is actually based on, I think there's a couple of recipes. There's a Jamie Oliver recipe and there's also a Tesco food. I think it's Tesco. I will leave both of those linked down below if you want exact ingredients. I'm going to take through what I'm going to use. Hopefully my pie is going to serve around 6 people. So I've just got a big bag of British white potatoes. There's 2 kilos in here. I probably will use them all because any leftover mash can always be used for something else, but I do like a nice big thick mash topping on my pie. I've got 1 kilo of diced chicken breasts, 2 large leeks. I'm going to need a little bit of plain flour, probably a tablespoon or 2, some cheddar cheese to top your pie. I'm going to use a good few tablespoons of creme fraiche. I got the lighter one, I believe, that's just what I picked up. I'm going to use some smoky bacon. What's really good in this is the cooking bacon you can buy. It's about £1 a pack and it's really good because you don't need uniform pieces. I had this in the fridge, so I'm going to use this. Loads and loads of curly leaf parsley, and then I'm going to make up some stock using a chicken stock cube and a white wine stock pot. If you haven't got stock pots, you could use leftover wine, although that doesn't ever seem to be an issue in this house, so I've bought a stock pot. And you're also going to need a little bit of butter or oil just to soften off your leeks. So what I'm going to do now is wash and trim my leeks and then chop them up. I'm going to cut them lengthways and then chop them along. I'm also going to chop up my bacon and then we can get cooking. So the first thing I'm going to do is soften off my chopped leeks. So I'm going to put a little bit of vegetable oil in a pan. You could use butter if you want. Goes in. I'm just going to cook those until they're nice and soft. I'm just going to do them on a medium heat because I don't want them to burn. So after about 3 or 4 minutes my leeks are nice and soft. So what I'm going to do now is take them out of the pan, pop them in a little dish, pop those to one side, and then in the same pan I'm going to add my chopped bacon. I've just roughly chopped it up. Add the chicken, and I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper. And while this is browning off, I'm going to get on with peeling and cubing my potatoes ready to make the mash. I'm going to do my mash in the pressure cooker because it takes 8 minutes after it's heated up. But you can obviously just boil a pan of salted water and cook your cubed potatoes until they are soft. A little bit of salt, add in some pepper. I've added quite a lot of pepper because we like it. I'm going to turn my heat up, get this to browning, and meanwhile I'm going to peel my potatoes. So at this stage I'm also going to add 500 ml of water into my kettle and boil that ready to make the stock. So like I said, I'm doing my mash in my pressure cooker, which I'll show you just in case you've got one. Though I've peeled and cubed my potatoes, I put some cold water in the bottom. You don't need to cover them in a pressure cooker, you just need to have some water obviously to build up the pressure, and it's also quicker to build up the pressure if you put less water. So I've probably about half covered the potatoes with water, put some salt in there, and then my inner pot goes into the outer pot, and then we basically press pressure cook. I'm going to go for 8 minutes, and then I'm going to take the keep warm button off and then literally just press start, and that's it. And just leave that to do its thing, so you don't have to watch it and make sure it doesn't boil over or anything. So I've got 500 ml of boiling water in my jug, and I'm just going to add both stock cube / stock pots into this and whisk it up until it's completely dissolved. I've got 1 chicken stock cube, and then I've got 1 white wine stock pot. So our chicken and bacon is cooked. The chicken has got some lovely colouring on it, and you really want to make sure that your bacon goes nice and crispy, and it doesn't matter about all the brown bits around the edge because that's all going to come off once we pour in our stock. So I'm just going to stir my leeks back through, and I'm now going to get a couple of large spoonfuls of plain flour and just sprinkle that over. We're going to let that cook for a couple of minutes. Once your flour has been pretty much absorbed, we're going to add in our stock and our parsley. That's going to thicken really nicely. So I've got a decent amount of parsley. It really is dependent on taste. I've just chopped it really, really finely. There's a good 2 tablespoons there, so I'm just going to add that in. I'm going to give this a few minutes just for everything to thicken up, and then we're going to add our creme fraiche and see if it needs any more seasoning. And now the sauce has thickened, I'm going to add in my creme fraiche. I'm going to probably put about 4 spoons. These are just normal spoons. So I'm going to do about 4 of those, and then the creme fraiche that I've got left I'm actually going to add into the mash because it really makes a difference. So we're just going to stir this through. Now we've taken it off the heat. Once it's stirred through, we can just see if it needs any salt or pepper. If you wanted to leave out the wine completely, you can. I would probably add some lemon juice in its place just to give it a little bit of acidity, but the wine really works, and you can get the stock pots if you don't have the wine. You can see that's gone really nice and creamy now. You can also top this with pastry if you just want to make a normal chicken pie. So I'm going to taste this now and see if it needs salt or pepper. I'm just going to leave it to cool whilst I make my mash. So I've just layered my dish with my filling, and now I'm going to add my mash, which I've just added some creme fraiche, some butter and some salt to. So I've just topped my pie with loads and loads of mature grated cheddar, and I'm going to put it in my oven. I do everything on around 200 degrees. So I'm going to pop it on 200 for around 30 minutes or until it's all nice and bubbling and golden brown on top. So I just served my pie with some rainbow chantenay carrots. This pie is always a hit in this house. Any leftovers are greatly appreciated. And what I'll do is I'll leave the 2 recipes that I've kind of based this off of in the description box below, but I always make up my own recipes as I go along, and this one definitely works. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.